What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, programmers of all ages? Welcome back to this week's HaxeFlixel game development tutorial. So, in last week we did the range testing state. This week we are going to do the boss test state from scratch, like we did with the melee range test state. Now, before we begin, since last week I have factory reset my computer, so let's just see if everything works. So if we say line test hl-debug, let me just get a space in there. Just gonna, okay, we have errors. Unmatched patterns, any, none, and wall. Okay, so in all honesty, I just spent the last 10 minutes trying to debug this. I wanted to punch my computer because this was not here last week. This is the exact same code base as last week, and you all saw that it did compile. I have no idea why Hax suddenly has this weird issue, but let's fix it. So first up is player. So let's go to the player. Now the issue is that I found is with facing. If we just see, it says unmatched patterns, and for some reason, I don't know why, it has gotten almost to the extent that Rust is with its type system. Now all that we have to do is just say default and just get a space back there, save, and that's it. That's the issue that it had. It just wanted a default at the end to know what to do in case that did not happen, and I don't know why it all of a sudden requires that, but oh well, it does. Let's just get another default in there and in there, and that should be it for the player one. The other one is melee monsters because they probably have a few switch statements themselves. Yep, get a nice default in there and in there. You're gonna, okay, and then the last one is boss monster, and it is over here. See switch statements, so we have a default over there. Here we go. Yeah, now let's say CLS to clear the terminal on Windows. It would be clear on Mac and Linux or Linux. Now let's say line test hl-debug, and I'll be back once this has compiled. Okay, it's just about done. See if something, there we go, it popped up. I'm pretty sure the sound should still work. We can still go here. Yeah, I have no idea why it had that issue. It is the weirdest issue that I've ever ran into in making this tutorial over the last 6 months. Any guess? Let's continue. So boss test state, we'll pretty much just do what we did with the ranged one. So we can just Control A and backspace, and we say class boss test state extends flx state, and we can just do this. Oh, before we start, I probably need to restart my language server. So it's F1 and then Hax : restart language server. And what's your issue this time? Oh, okay, wait, I know the issue for this part. Let me just go over to hashlink debug. I don't know why it has an error. Let's try that again. Like, Lime works. I can show you that Lime works on this computer. Show error. Yep, I have no idea, but I can show you. So if we go over here and just say Lime, it works. Flixel, it works. So I have absolutely no clue on earth what is up with the language server. Any case, so first up is the variables for the class. So it's private. Let me just move my mic a bit. Private var player of type player, private var boss monster of type boss monster, private var projectiles of type flx typed group. And that's the best part. You can see we do have the language server. It is up and running. I have no idea why I get those errors. Like, you can see I get language server features, I just get errors when I try to compile it. Hacks, I guess. That's all I'm going to say on that. In any case, private var map of type flx ogmo 3 loader, private var walls flx tile map, private var player spawn position of type position, private var boss respawn points of type array of position, and we can just set it to an empty array. Private var player health bar type flx bar. Typing is just all over the place. Private var boss health bar of type flx bar. Private var sound effects of type array and flx sound. And as far as music goes, we just have one very long theme song or boss fighting song. It's like an hour long, and that should be more than enough, so we don't need an array to keep track of those. So here we just need to import it and import it. Awesome. So now it's override create. Okay, first things first, flxg dot world bounds dot set. We can just go with -1000 -1000 to 2000 and 2000. Next, let's load the map. So it's map equals new flx ogmo reloader asset paths dot introduction to HaxeFlixel __ ogmo and asset paths dot boss map json walls equals map dot load tile map asset paths dot walls and floor __ png, and we'll just set it's under the walls layer, and we say walls dot follow walls dot set tile properties. So the first property is flx object dot any and walls dot set tile properties. The second one is flx object dot none, and then we add the walls. Let's set up the projectiles equals new flx typed group of projectile, and then add the projectiles, and then just import let's just import these quickly. No, not that what I want to do. Why is that the first one that pops up? No, come on, you're kidding me, right? Okay, save. Let's try this again. Import, save. Finally. Well, that is so weird. Can you guess? Scroll down a bit. Next we say player equals new player, and we set it at 0 and 0 on the map, and we say map dot load entities. We say place player, and it is on the player layer, which again, like last time, is dumb, and we will fix that. It's just not yet. And then we say add _ player. We'll probably have it fixed by next tutorial, and I'll show you what I did. We say flxg dot camera dot follow player top down, and then 1. Next up is map dot load entities get monster locations, and it's on the melee monster layer. So this will just go through and get all the spots where the boss character can spawn, so then we'll spawn it at a random position at that spot. So say var temp spawn point is equal to boss respawn points at a random dot int between 0 and boss respawn points dot length -1. So this will get us a random position to spawn the boss at initially. And we say boss monster is equal to a new boss monster at point temp spawn point dot get x and temp spawn I can't type spawn point dot get y. We say target the player, and then it's done. Cool. And then we just need to add the boss monster to our scene. And we just scroll down a bit. We say player health bar is equal to a new flx bar. It's at 0.00 left to right. It is width of 100, a height of 10. It is connected to the player. It is for health 0, 100. It goes from 0 to 100, and it has indeed have a border. Cool. Next we say player health bar dot create bold bar flx color dot red flx color dot green, and it has a border. And we say player health bar dot track parent, and it's 20 and minus 20. And we say add player health bar. So it'll be a lot similar when we do the boss health bar. So we can just control C all of that, control V, and then we say boss health bar, and we can just control C, control V, control V, control V, and then this will just be boss monster. The rest is all the same. It needs to be 100 long. Actually, a boss monster is 1,000 long. Now I look at my notes. So it's still 100 wide, but it has 1,000 value. It is red and green. It is at the top right corner of the boss, and that's about it. Just before we go, though, I just want to see boss monster. If we scroll all the way to the top, it doesn't look like we added anything, so we can just say health is equal to 1,000. Next up is flxg.sound.play music asset boss music underscore ogg. It is a volume of 1, and we say true. And we say sound effects is equal to an array, which feel about that how you want. Now, for the sake of me typing less, since we've already done this part, I'm just gonna copy this from my notes and show you what I did. So if you can, why any case, so we import the firebolt, the ice bolt, the poison bolt, and the shock bolt. We want the player getting hit audio, the demon getting hit audio, and the demon dying audio, and then we just call super.create. Next up is our update function. Let me scroll down a bit, and we say override and up. So if underscore player dot health is less than 100, we say player dot health is plus equals elapsed time. And next is if player dot health is less or equal to 100, I mean 0, then we say curly braces. Can you please player dot health is equal to 100, and then player dot set position equal to player respawn position dot get x, and player respawn position dot get y. Cool. It also formatted that for me, and we say player health bar dot value is equal to player dot health. Next up is the boss monster's health bar. So we say if boss monster dot health less or equal to 0. Note that the boss monster doesn't regain its health. That would be really broken and not very fun, but mostly really broken. Boss monster dot health is equal to 1,000, and then var, we can just copy this from the top. So over here we can just control C, and then boss monster dot set position equal to temp position dot get x, and temp position, okay, just call that temp position. And then we say temp position dot get y, and then boss health bar dot value is equal to the boss monster dot health. We want to shoot handle keyboard handle boss monster of, and then just pass the boss monster flxg dot overlap player projectiles handle player projectile collisions flxg dot overlap with boss monster projectiles handle boss projectile collisions flxg dot overlap player, oh no wait, this is a collide, not an overlap, because if it's overlap then we are so screwed. So collide boss monster handle player boss collisions flxg dot collide projectile tiles, walls, handle, projectile, tiles, wall, collisions, flxg dot collide player and walls, flxg dot collide boss, monster, and walls. And this part we can just turn into an overlap so it doesn't do that weird thing where it bounces off the wall. Okay, next up, private function, place player, entity of type entity data. We can say if entity dot name is equal to player, then player respawn position is equal to a new position of entity.x and entity.y. And I will admit I'm really regretting not using an FLX point instead of an FLX position or just my position class. Like, I don't know why I didn't think of it. Must have been a bad day. In any case, player dot set position, entity dot x and entity dot y. And if we save, it just formats everything for us and makes it all nice and pretty and good looking. Next, private function, get monster locations, entity of type entity data, if entity dot name is equal to melee monster, then boss respawn points dot push new position at entity dot x and entity dot y. Cool. You know you're tired when your eyes start burning from just looking at the screen. Next, let's scroll down a bit and we say private function shoot for the handling and shooting functions. You say if flxg.mouse.just-pressed bar mouse equals flxg.mouse.get position. And we say projectiles.add new projectile or player.get midpoint dot x, player dot get midpoint dot y, mouse position, player dot get projectile type, and then it was spawned by the player. Nice. Next is player dot fire, and player dot health is equal to player dot health -1, and then just our usual switch statement for the audio to play. So I'm just gonna copy that same as we usually have done it. Nice. Next up is the handle keyboard function, and for the sake of not making this another hour-long video, I'm just going to Control C, Control V. It's the exact same as every other state that we have done thus far. Cool. Next up is, let me just scroll down a bit. Private function and handle boss monster, and we get a monster of type boss monster. If monster dot get shoot fire var projectile is equal to a new projectile. We say monster dot get midpoint dot x. We just copy this part and say y, monster dot get target dot get midpoint, monster dot get projectile type. I think that should be all. Doesn't seem to be complaining when we say projectiles dot add projectile. Okay, it's complaining. What am I missing? Not enough arguments. Oh, we require the spawner at the end when we say monster, and it automatically like tabbed it over for me at the bottom. I didn't do that. Now the switch case for the sound we're playing is the exact same as this top one. All that is different is that it says monster.get projectile type instead of player.get projectile type, but otherwise it's the exact same. We have also multiple times see the player projectile collision function, so I'm just gonna Control C, Control V that. You can see it's if projectile.get spawner does not equal player, player.health -10, play the sound effect of the player getting hurt and kill the projectile. Next up, let me just scroll down a bit. We say private function handle boss projectile collisions, we get a monster of type boss monster and a projectile of type projectile, which is kind of self-explanatory. If projectile dot get spawner the equals player, then we say projectile dot kill monster dot stun monster dot health minus equal 10, and then sound effects at 0.5 dot play. Next up is private function handle player boss collisions. It is a player of type player and a monster of type boss monster, so we want to stun the boss monster so the player can have a moment to get away. Player dot health is minus equal 10, and then sound effects at element 4 dot play. Cool. And then the final function is just the projectiles and wall collision that you've also seen a few hundred times now. Cool. That should be it. Let's see if we can run it. Say line test hl-debug. I'll be back as soon as this has compiled. Okay, there we have it. The game is running. We say test boss map, so it's going to load the boss, going to load the music. It's going to take a while. You'll see the blue screen of death for quite a while. Hopefully not the Windows one, but our one. And there you have it. We're in. You can walk around. Let's see if we can find the boss. I'm just going to okay, our projectiles are not showing. Did we remember to add the projectiles? Yeah, the projectiles were added. So if we say shoot projectiles dot add new projectile, and we called the shoot function. Okay, let's try running that again. Maybe I missed something. I don't know. Test boss map. It should be shooting, and that should be shooting. We're not getting any issues about it not being found, I don't think. Characters, yeah, it doesn't seem like it. Maybe it's an issue with, let's see, assets, images, firebolt. Yeah, it's there. Projectiles. Okay, that's weird. Let's see if we say line test hl-debug on something else. Can't imagine why it's not showing up. Like, it should be showing. Can't imagine why it's not. Range test state, range map maybe? Range map works. Maybe I made a mistake somewhere. Let's see if I Control A, Control V from my notes. Control C, so boss test state, Control All, Control V. Still 211 lines. Line test hl-debug. Like I did test it before writing the tutorial, or before doing the tutorial, and it worked on my side. I don't know what I missed this time. We say boss map, takes a while to load, yada yada yada. I'll be back as soon as it's in, maybe? Okay, it's in. I have absolutely no idea what I missed. I will admit that scares me. Update function, player.health is 100. Don't know why it spawned me back with less health. Test boss map. Okay, we can still shoot. Let's see if the boss kills us. Yeah, Yeah, no, it's full of. I have absolutely no idea what happened there. In any case, thank you for watching this week's tutorial. If you enjoyed, feel free to drop a like, subscribe, and until next week, enjoy and goodbye.